What's up, everybody? This is Crusader Kings 3, and this is a beginner's guide, a how to play. So let's go ahead and click on new game. The game has available to us 2 time periods, and in those time periods they have more or less the same regions. So you see these characters that we have here are the campaigns that the game has created. And you could also create your own ruler. So we'll click on that just to show you. So this is the map of the game, and you can choose any character to play as. And if you're feeling spontaneous, you can go ahead and select random character, and you can go ahead and play as that character and their dynasty. You could also create your own ruler, but you would first have to select a location and then edit them. So you got all these options available to you. You could even customize the banner, the coat of arms. We'll make a separate video on the custom character later. So let's go to the Duchy of Munster in Ireland, 1066. In the rags to riches. Petty King Murchad, age 39, Duke of Munster. In the beginning of the 11th century, the High Kingship of Ireland has fallen in and out of House Brian's grasp, as the Irish noble houses have warred over territory against each other and Viking settlers. Yet, while hailing from a line of men deemed destined for kingship, not much is known about Murchad's brief reign over the smaller area of Munster. With your help, perhaps a member of House of Brian can sit on the throne of Ireland once more. And that, my friends, is up to you. First thing I want to bring to your attention in this medieval grand strategy game is your character. So you see here, this is our character, this is you, and you see below his character traits. These character traits have a role to play in the level of the skill in these certain lifestyles. The level of skill determines if it is regarded as poor, average, good, or excellent. And each of these have their own effects depending on the level. You see here on diplomacy, it is poor and it has negative effects. And likewise, with the excellence, it has positive effects. So the higher the number, the better they are at the skill. And usually, their highest skill is their education trait or the lifestyle they focused on studying while they were growing up. And you get a education trait at the age of 16. That is when the game considers you as an adult and your education is over at that point. While your character can still grow and increase their skill numbers though afterwards. So the education trait is determined by how well they were educated, here by a ward. And the better education trait is due to the higher learning and the level of skill that the educator has in those traits. But the most important is the learning, as that's how well they're able to teach whatever education lifestyle or all of them overall. So let's go ahead and get into the lifestyles. Here we have the lifestyle paths, and there are 5 of them. Here we have diplomacy, which focuses on understanding people and their motives, how to handle other realms, and how to win the unwavering loyalty of your subjects. Next, we have martial, which is our character's lifestyle. It's the focus of control of your realm, honorable conduct, and the strategies that will win your wars. And keep in mind, you can pick any of the lifestyles, but the one that your character has the education trait in, you will earn more XP, meaning you're able to unlock perks faster. And we'll get into the perks in a little bit. You see up top here, he has 8 perks unlocked out of 27 total. The next lifestyle we have is stewardship. Focus on dealing justice, administrating the lands of your realm, and filling your coffers with gold. The next lifestyle is intrigue. And this is the focus on the manipulation of people and the nature of secrets and the cunning plots that will bring your plans to fruition. And the last lifestyle is learning. This is the focus on learning all that you can, and the realm of knowledge and divinity lie within your grasp, as well as the secrets to life itself. So let's go ahead and dive into the martial lifestyle and look at the perks available to us, as it is our character's lifestyle focus. Here, each lifestyle has 3 columns, 3 alternative paths within that lifestyle, and each column is correlated to each row here. So here we have the strategy focus, and this is aligned with the strategist column. This authority focused is aligned with the overseer column, and such, and likewise with the chivalry focus and the gallant path. So you can mix and match either one however you want, but just to keep it simple, we are gonna, and each one has different perks, so you go with what's best for you and how you want to play it. But because we plan on conquering much land, this control growth is gonna help out a ton. This control growth is gonna bring the lands under your control, so you can reap the full amount of gold per month and levies per month that you can. So we're going to go ahead and select it, and you see here at the bottom, this selection can only be changed every 5 years. So you can pick anyone you want, but once you select it, you are locked in for 5 years. And if you select the lifestyle within your education trait, I find you usually earn 3 perks within that 5 years, as opposed to you selecting a different lifestyle and earning about 2 perks within the 5 years. You can see right here below, it is telling you how much XP you will earn per month, and it is slightly higher in the lifestyle of his focus compared to the rest, and each one is going to be 25. So again, in the lifestyle focus is usually 3 perks within the 5 years. Outside of his focus, it's usually 2 perks. Some lifestyles that I like to mix and match. So if I go down to the diplomacy tree, depends on the age of the character. I like to get this one right here, 100% opinion gain from when you send a gift, which helps out a ton in ruling your realm, but you will need gold to prevent vassals rebelling against you or scheming against you. And the next one I like to get within that 5-year period is the Groom to Rule, and it gives your children 1 to 3 extra skill points, which helps out for sure. And if I go down the stewardship, I like to get the cutting cornerstones, a little bit of reduction in the cost of the buildings, which is important. And if I can, I'll go all the way down to the centralization, which is a plus 0.3 in development growth in the realm capital, which is huge, as development in a county plays a huge role in how much gold you're able to get from that county and levies as well. And the last one I like to go down, if I'm able to, is the learning, and I'll try to secure this planned cultivation as it increases the development rate in your county. I forgot to mention, once you complete a lifestyle path, you end up with a perk, and these perks give you skill points on top of other bonuses. So if you went down this learning lifestyle focus down the scholarly path, you would end up with plus 5 learning, which is a lot, and plus 15 development growth, which is huge, and you see these scheme success chances as well. So for the martial lifestyle which we're in, this overseer, we only need 1 more perk. We would get plus 2 martial to give us a total of 20, and plus 2 stewardship and skill points, which helps us increase our domain limit. Your domain limit is directly tied to your stewardship skill level, and the domain limit is how many counties or how many castles that you can hold personally without taking a negative penalty in your gold and levies per month. So that is the lifestyle paths. Feel free to go ahead and scope them out, what bonuses each perk gives. It really all just depends on what you want to accomplish within your character's life. So the next thing I want to bring to your attention is prestige. Prestige is represented by this crown and it has different colors depending on your level of fame. Currently, we are established, and the higher you go in the level of fame, the more perks you get. It's also represented up here if you wanted to get a closer look at it. It gives you a breakdown of where you're getting your prestige from and why some is getting taken away. So we are getting a negative 3% on the prestige gain because of our poor diplomacy skill. Our diplomacy skill is poor, and one of the effects of that is negative 3% on the prestige gain. And it tells you how close you are to the next level to earn those perks. Progress towards the next level. And once this bar gets full, you will have enter into the next level of fame. You need prestige for a couple of things in the game, like inviting knights. It's going to cost you some prestige. To press your claims, it's going to cost you prestige. So this character here has a claim. If he wants to press this claim to go to war with this character for his right to own this land, it's going to cost him prestige to go to war. You also need prestige to change the laws of your inheritance, as well as to pass a higher level of crown authority. And it's going to cost you 138 prestige to get to the second level, and there is 4 total. And each of them give you different bonuses the higher you go. So once you get level 4 crown authority, which is known as high crown authority, you will get increased gold and levies per month from your vassals, but it's going to cost you a negative 30 opinion from them, which is a good chunk. So you see here, to pass the laws, you will need 500 prestige and also a powerful vassal approval. So keep in mind that negative 30 opinion modifier. Like if we had high crown authority right now, his opinion of us, our vassal, would be negative 55, which is pretty bad. And it goes up to 100. Aside from the inheritance laws, we have multiple rulers and a single realm heir. We have gender laws as well, and that'll also cost you prestige and likewise a powerful vassal approval. And you could earn prestige by marrying. The next thing I want to bring to your attention real quick is this stress bar level right here. You have stress in real life, your character also has stress, and it has 3 levels. Each time you pass a level, there's an opportunity to get much more stress and also one option to decrease it, and you'll see as you play along. And you acquire stress when you choose actions that are opposite of what your character's morals and what he would typically do. So that's how you acquire stress, when you go and choose a path that is opposite of these characteristic traits. And these characteristic traits can also have a negative opinion from other characters. It's usually the opposite of what this is. For example, he is impatient, so he has a negative of 15 opinion of patient characters. The next thing I want to bring to your attention is left of the stress bar, and this is the inventory. We talked about earlier the lifestyle paths. This is this button right here. So this is the inventory, and this gives you certain perks and bonuses depending on which category it belongs to. The weapon and armor artifacts are going to grant your character more prowess, which is their aptitude in personal combat. A high prowess skill means that they are more likely to survive and perform well both as knights in battles and in duels. And each prowess point is 100 damage. So knights are very powerful, and you can find your knights right over here. Knights. And remember, each level of fame you go, you get +1 that you could send into battle. So your crown usually can boost your prestige and vassal opinion, likewise with the regalia, and these trinkets give you different bonuses. They could give you skill points, so these are pretty nice as well. Altogether, you definitely want to fill these out when you can. And how you commission one, or how do you get them, is through an antiquarian. It's going to be found here. To hire one, you go to Courtiers and the core positions, antiquarian, and each position is going to cost you gold per month. So what you would do is you click on one, you hire them, but we're not going to do it right now just to save some gold. And then you will go right here to the decisions and commission artifact. And each artifact you want to commission is going to be 100 gold. And then after some time, as soon as it's commissioned, it's going to be decaying, as all things do. The second law of thermodynamics and entropy. The aptitude of your antiquarian is going to determine how fast it decays. The antiquarian is also nice because they can protect artifacts from being stolen during sieges or raids. So that is another way you can acquire artifacts. Say we siege this castle because we want to bring it under our de jure lands. If we go to war for it, as we can, declare war and seize the earldom of Desmond and the reason is de jure. So it belongs to us. We want to bring it under our control. So say you siege his castle and he has an artifact, there is an opportunity for you to acquire that artifact. And then you would just go to artifact and it'll pop up right here. You click on the one and it'll select the category and you just click on it and it'll equip it and you have those bonuses. The next thing we're going to talk about is the house and dynasties. We mentioned it just a little bit with the prestige, as you earn prestige from being the house head and dynasty head. So as you mentioned, the dynasty is the root of the tree and the house is the branches. And from being the dynasty head, having the most military power out of all your dynasty, you get to choose what is called legacies. You see, the legacies are similar to the lifestyle paths, and these perks or legacies are applied to every single member of your dynasty, as opposed to the lifestyle where the perks are only applied to your character. These apply to every member of this dynasty. Every member gets the benefits. And it's going to cost you what is called renown. So you can gain renown just by having living members and the number of rulers. And like we are currently a duke, and the number of spouses married to other rulers. So for example, we marry a sister or a daughter to another king or a duke or an emperor. And every time you unlock one, it's going to cost you 500 more renown. So after we unlock one, the next one is going to cost us 750. Similarly to the lifestyle focus or the paths, you can go down any tree you want depending on how you want to play. The first one I like to select is the learning and the vibrant court because it gives us a 30% discount on guest recruitment. And these guests show up into your court, and if you recruit them, they are now your courtiers, and then they help you with your realm. You could put them in your council to assign them to certain tasks. So I like this one a lot. Not only will it be cheaper, but they'll be better guests. And the better the guest, the more expensive they are. So it's nice to get this 30% discount so you could save some gold and reinvest it into your kingdom. The thing though, when you unlock a legacy, you cannot skip all the way over here. It has to be in order. So if I want to unlock Private Army, I would have to first unlock House of Warriors, then Generational Belligerents, and likewise and so on. How could we increase our renown? As we mentioned, with the living members and the number of members with a high title, such as Duke, U on the keyboard, I on the keyboard, which brings up the kingdoms, and O on the keyboard, which brings up the empires. Each member that you have with one of those high-ranking titles will add a renown, and the higher the title, the more renown your dynasty will get. And similarly to the levels of fame with the prestige, there's what is called levels of splendor, and they likewise give you bonuses and perks each time you acquire the next level. The main one is the children being born with a certain amount of prestige. As we mentioned, prestige is important to acquire lands through claims and inviting knights, passing laws. So the more prestige you have, the better. Prestige is also needed, I forgot to mention, with the culture. If you press T on the keyboard, it's going to bring up the cultures. You need prestige to establish traditions. So I go right here to this culture button, the candle, establish traditions, and these are buffs for your entire culture. So similarly, for the dynasty legacies apply to everybody in your dynasty, these cultural traditions apply to everybody who holds to the Irish culture. And they have different categories from the realm, warfare, social, ritual, and regional. So you can go ahead and pick which one you want depending on how you want to play. I guess usually the better ones require more prestige to unlock. And after you establish a tradition, it's going to take you a good amount of years, at least like a generation or two, before you could acquire another tradition. This next section is called Domains, Claims, Succession, and de jure Maps. You've seen the de jure maps just a little bit with the keyboard shortcuts U, I, and O. We'll talk about those in a little bit. But domains, you can find your domains up at the top right, 2 out of 5. Your stewardship skill level will determine how many holdings you can have. The holdings are basically the castles. And your title will allow you to hold more domains. So if you're a king, you're able to hold a little bit more domains, and likewise with an emperor. And your culture, depending on your traditions, can increase your domain holdings as well. And you see we have +1 from stewardship. That is because of our skill. And when you have a spouse, they can help you with the skills. They'll pop up right here, and you could have assist you with every skill, and you'll get a portion of all of their skills. Or you could have them solely focus on helping you with one skill, and it'll increase your skill number by their half. So if, say, your spouse had 18 martial and you wanted her to help you with martial because you're in battle, and the higher your martial ability, the higher your commander trait. In total, you would have 27. So it would give you half of her skill level. If she had 18 martial, the game would add 9 skill points to your martial ability. Okay, so let's talk about pressed claims. You can find a pressed claim right here. This character has a pressed claim. You see it's pressed with this little plus sign. This means that if he does not go to war for this claim, his heir, because he doesn't have children right now, it's his brother, and his brother also has the same claim because they have the same father who ruled over that land. So if he has a son and he doesn't go to war, this pressed claim then becomes a unpressed claim, and it is shown with a negative or a minus sign, as ours is in this case. We have an unpressed claim on the Kingdom of Ireland because our grandfather ruled over Ireland and our father did not, or he did not go to war for it, and the Kingdom of Ireland no longer exists. So therefore we have an unpressed claim on it. If somebody did currently have the Kingdom of Ireland, we would be his vassal, and we can then press our claim by gathering other vassals, and we would join together, raise our armies, and go to war for this person's claim on the Kingdom of Ireland. So say there's a decision to invite claimants right here, and a claimant is anybody who has a claim. So if, say, this duke invited claimants to his court and desired to expand his realm in exchange for that person who has the claim to pay him gold and levies per month. Say he invited claimants and our brother went to his court. Our brother has a claim on both of our domains and our duchy. So if he were to win this war against us, our brother would now become the duke and hold these 2 counties. But if you go to war for the same title, that person would be independent. You would have to be a king. So this person, in his best interest, would only go to war for a county claim. And the level of the title is shown by the crown above it. These ones, the county claims have the smallest crown, and you see them highlighted on the map. So he may go to war, pressing our brother's claim to own this land, and his land would expand to this county. So that is pressed and unpressed claims. You could acquire a claim by marrying into it. So say our son married this person's daughter, if they had one. Our player heir, his son, would then have a claim on this land, these counties, or whatever is under his control. So if this person does have control of these two counties, so our grandson would have a claim on these lands. You could also acquire a claim by fabrication, and for some reason your bishop would be involved in that, and you can do that right here with the fabricate claim on county. And the border counties will be fabricated much quicker than if they were one away. So you see 19 months and 2 years. So 5 months difference between. And what influences the speed of the fabrication claim is your bishop's learning skill level. And here you see it says average. Another way you could acquire a claim is by buying it. Now that is only available through the learning lifestyle here at sanctioned loopholes. And you see below, you can buy a claim in exchange for piety. So your piety is right here. You would spend piety, a couple hundred piety, in exchange for a claim on a land. And if you buy a claim, it is a unpressed claim. Meaning if you don't go to war for that claim, your heir will not have the opportunity to legally go to war for that claim. You could also pull up your domains from clicking on this realm button, and the first tab is domain, and it gives you a little bit more insight from the development level, which increases the gold and levies depending the higher the level, and the control. If your county is not under full control, you will lack the full amount of taxes and levies per month. You will not be able to reap its full benefits. And it also tells you the empty holdings and what you can build, as we just showed right here. These are the empty holding spots that it's talking about. And then you have its buildings. Each holding, whether it's a city, a temple, or a castle, has holdings and the level that it can build to. So right here we have a shrine, temple grounds, house of worship, and it increases in its bonuses and perks and what it gives. So let's go for our castle, for example. It'll increase our fort level, making it harder to siege, and give us more taxes, more levies, and more garrison. This is how many troops an enemy or you would need to siege that castle. So you see how everything increased. And it's going to cost you gold, and you would have to unlock it in cultural technologies. Culture, innovation, and battlements. It also gives you a smaller breakdown of where your gold is coming from your domains and from your vassals, and our vassal is right here, and how many levies as well. Now let's talk about the Jure Maps. So before you could become a duke, you first need to hold its required amount of counties. So say for the Duchy of Ulster, for this title to be created, you need to have 2 de jure counties. And the titles are going to cost you gold, and it'll give you prestige. And it'll tell you what it is a part of, each one. So this duchy is a part of the de jure lands of Ireland, and Ireland is part of the de jure lands of Britannia. So to become an emperor, you first need to fulfill its requirements of kingship. Have 75 counties in its de jure land with the amount of gold, and 2 kingdom titles. Ireland and Scotland would be suffice, and then you need the 75 counties, and then you could create the Empire of Britannia. And likewise, you would need to fulfill the kingdom title requirements before you can get to an emperor or an empire. So you would need to have 8 de jure counties. We currently have 3. Notice we only have 2 in our domain, but we have 3 total under our control. And then we would need 1 more duchy title. So go back to that succession. Succession means how your titles will be divided among your heirs. There's 2 groups of succession laws. We have a multiple realm heirs, confederate partition, partition, and high partition. And partition and high partition are unlocked in innovations, and they're each at their own time. So this will allow you to unlock high partition once you enter the high medieval, and hereditary rule will allow you to unlock partition law. So if you wanted to unlock it, it has an X because we haven't unlocked it yet in the cultural technologies. And then confederate partition means your titles will be divided amongst your heirs, your children, equally, and a new title will be created for them if it is possible. So let's say, for example, our current character conquers this much land right here. That is 2 duchies worth. Once our character dies, our second child, will inherit the land for a duchy. Then they will become independent because they have the same level title. So our heir, primary heir, will have the Duchy of Munster. Our secondary heir will have the Duchy of Leinster, however you say that. And then the remaining land will go back to your primary heir unless you have another child. If we had a third child and we conquered this much land, then the third child will get the Duchy of Meath, however you say that again. And each child will then have claims to each other's lands because their father controlled all that land and they have a legal right to control that land as well. They will have a pressed claim. That is confederate partition, where the realm will be divided, your titles will be divided, and a new title will be created for them if possible. Partition, your titles will still be divided equally among your children, but no new titles will be created. So say you, in the current example, if we control these 2 duchies as well, your children will inherit those titles, whatever ones you have, but a new title will not be created and your land will not split. They will control land, they will be counts under your primary heir, the Duke. The single realm heir has 3 types as well. Primogenitor, whereas your oldest child will inherit all your titles. Ultimogenitor, where your youngest child will inherit all your titles. And house seniority, where your oldest member of your house will inherit all your titles. And whenever you want to change a law, you need prestige and powerful vassal approval. So we would not be able to because one of our vassals, powerful vassals, does not agree with it. And each one has different effects. So you can go ahead and scope them out there. You have the gender laws as well that ties into the distribution, where you could allow females to inherit as well. And likewise, you will need prestige and powerful vassal opinion. Regardless of your current succession law, if you have high crown authority, you will be able to designate an heir. You can choose your primary heir amongst your children. So say we wanted him to be our primary heir because he has better skill points, or he has a better alliance in the marriage or betrothal, then we can go ahead and select him if we have high crown authority and designate him as our heir, and they will flip-flop. He will be our primary heir, receiving the primary title and the lands, and he will receive 1 in this case. So that is succession. I hope that helped clear things up just a little bit for you. I forgot to mention real quick, you want to invest and develop your county or your capital of whatever title it is, because your lands will split until you are able to acquire a single realm heir who could set your steward, we'll talk about the council a little bit later, to increase development. And depending on his level, it'll have different possible side effects, some good, some bad. And in this case, it's more likely that we will have a negative effect because of our steward's ability. But it is important to develop your county capital. That way you reap the benefits of gold per month and levies per month from this. And you can tell you have a high development county by clicking on this plus button down here in the bottom right and going to development. The lighter the color, the more developed the land is. So you definitely do not want to have your lands be this color. You want them to have this yellow color. See, development level 22. So this yellow color means it is one of the most highly developed lands in the game. Or you see these are extra dark or purple in this case because they have 0 development. And that's due to the terrain. Next, let's talk about vassals. To find how many vassals you have, you go to Realm, you click this Vassals tab, and it'll bring up all your vassals. In this case, we only have 1, and down here it tells us how many vassals we can have without taking a penalty. If we go over this limit, we take a penalty in gold per month, taxes per month, and levies. And we see here is the average opinion of our vassals. In this case, mayors are included from the city. That's why it is not matching with this account. And you see this button below. It's a modify vassal contract. You could increase taxes so you get more gold per month. Increase levies so you get more soldiers per month. And there's different special options down here for religious rights. As our character is Catholic and we are Insularism, we'll talk about religion a little bit later. So this being selected means you cannot force him or demand him to convert to your religion. This one right here is council rights. This means he is guaranteed a spot, or he can, if he is not on the council, he can force you to put him on the council. And he currently is. You see this little powerful symbol right here, this fist, and it represents a powerful vassal. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And it gives you a breakdown right here, the 2 main things in the contract. The tax level and the levies level, which are both normal. And if you increase them, it does come with a negative opinion each time you go higher. And usually you will need a hook if you do not want to acquire tyranny. You see right here, if you just like, hey, I'm going to switch your contract, and that's too bad. You will get tyranny, and every subject you have will lose 20 opinion of you. So it's good to have a hook, and we'll talk about how to get hooks in just a little bit. And so you can go through right here, war declaration, succession rights, and title revocation. This prevents him from revoking his title. Succession rights means your vassal cannot switch beyond partition. And war declaration means even if you have high crowd authority, it says right here, vassals cannot wage war unless they have a hook on their liege, or depending on the contract. If he has war declaration, he can wage war regardless of your crown authority. So these are the contracts for your vassals, and it is important to keep an eye on them as you can reap the benefits from more gold and more levies. And it says right here, powerful vassal. A powerful vassal will expect a position on the council. Your council is found right here, and we'll talk about that next. So it's important to keep an eye on the opinion of your vassals, because if they do not like you, then that gives them incentive to cause a faction, to start a faction, which is basically rebellion and civil war, or they will even scheme against you to murder you. And you see this case, he is our spy master, so that is his thing. He can definitely join a scheme against us to murder us. So it is important to get them to like us, and a way you can do that, right click on the character, click on sway. Now the success and the time frame is dependent on the character's diplomacy level. So you could use your spouse, set her to focus on diplomacy, and you will get half of her skill points for diplomacy. Or another way is you can send them gold. But in this case, we do not have enough. And you see, send gift to increase his opinion of you. So that is it for the vassals. The next section I want to talk about is courtiers, which is found below right here. And the courtiers are basically people in your court. And you have court positions, as we mentioned, the antiquarian. You also have the physician. The physician is listed first because it is the most important position out of all of these, as the court physician heals your wounded knights and they heal your sick, or they treat your sick. So each one costs gold per month, and they tells you what they do, basically what their tasks are. And if you want to deal with the stress, your jester right here will help relieve your stress by making you laugh and whatnot. And the seneschal will increase your county growth, which will bring this right here all the way to 100, or it'll assist in doing that depending on their aptitude. It can go from 0.1 to 0.5. So you want to hire people with the best skill for that position so you reap the most benefits. These courtiers are people in your courts. To find out who they are, you will click right here, courtiers. And these people are unlanded. That can be knights, your guest, and people you have recruited. You can see right here this plus button. This means he is a visitor in your guest, and it'll tell you right here, give you a bonus, a little insight to what you can hire them for. It says your guest is an experienced physician and he has a high learning. He has excellent learning. If we were to click on him, we would go to his skill number. It says excellent. Just keep in mind, the better the character, the more gold it is going to cost. In this case, it's 45, which is it's most of everything we have in our treasury, but he is a phenomenal physician. And also keep in mind their age, because as they get older, you don't want to pay an expensive fee to recruit somebody to your court just for them to die within a couple years. So you could also just see if there's anybody in your court who has a high learning as well. Anything above 13 should be fine. 12, it would be all right too, as they will develop and learn more in this position and increase their learning. It's also to keep in mind, it gives you a little notice right here, powerful agent in hostile schemes against you. So your physician can easily join a scheme against you to murder you if they do not have a good opinion of you. So it's important to have your physician and your spy master have high opinions of you. So you see also these two highlighted buttons up top. You could also find them in the decisions tab down here. Invite knights, invite claimants. Because these are people who would be at your court. As we mentioned, if this duke recruited our brother as a claimant, that's what these are right here. People who have claims. So you could expand your territory and therefore increase your gold per month and levies per month. But keep in mind for the de jure lands, as you will have to defend them as someone wants to create that title or fulfill the requirements to create that title. And you see the last tab we have here is the prisoners. We currently don't have any prisoners. You acquire prisoners from war, prisoners of war, capturing them in battle or sieging the castle that they're in. You could also imprison people as well. So say, we could just click anybody there, but you will right click them and hostile imprison, and it'll tell you the chance you have. You won't succeed. And it would also be tyranny because you do not have a reason. That ties into the hooks and whatnot to a degree. The hooks you have from your spy master, and we'll talk about that next in the council. So within your prisoners, there's a couple things you could do with them. You could just release them for free, and that'll increase their opinion of you, but it will reduce your dread. And your dread is a measure of how feared you are as a ruler. And dread does have its benefits because it will dissuade vassals from joining factions, starting civil wars against you, and thus decreasing the control level in your county, thus impacting your gold per month and your levies per month. It'll discourage vassals from scheming against you as a murder plot, for example, or trying to find a secret in your court to get a hook on you to modify their vassal contract in more favorable way for them. Dread increases the vassal acceptance for the title reclamation, so you could increase your domain limit up top. It also increases a vassalization offer, so this would be for people outside of your realm. In this case, this guy right here, and he is our de jure lands. So we could offer him vassalage. So he is willing to become our vassal and pay his taxes, but not normal. He wants a more favorable contract, and then he will be willing. So that is up to you if you want to accept that and then try to modify it later by acquiring hooks on them. Or you could just go to war as we seen earlier. Hey, you belong to us. This land belongs to us. And we can modify it after that way. You could ransom them for gold, and depending on who the character is will determine the amount of gold you can get for their ransom. You could also torture them or even execute them, and both of those options will increase your dread. So next up we have our council button. The reason why I skipped over to go to courtiers first is because your council can be made up of your courtiers and your vassals. But once you have a large enough land, like the kingdom for example, you will have powerful vassals who will expect to fill these positions. But currently we only have one powerful vassal, so these other positions are filled by the courtiers. So just keep in mind, these vassals powerful vassals will expect to be on the council, and if they are not on the council, they will have a -40 opinion against you. Say this guy was a powerful vassal, but he's not cutting it. Like he's average, so he can get the job done, but we would want better. So say we want to switch him out with let's say this person had 16. We would click assign, and it's going to tell you this person is going to lose 20 opinion of you because he's fired, and he would lose 40 opinion of you because he is a powerful vassal and he expects to remain on the council. So keep that in mind with trying to keep your powerful vassals happy. That way you don't have to deal with them in civil wars and rebellions. Although sometimes you are okay with that, and as in this case we kind of would be if we had alliances, and we would win those wars, those civil wars. Then we would imprison them after we win the war, and then we could revoke their claim, and we would not incur tyranny because they were rebelling against your rule. So on your council, you want to fill it with as high as a skill level as you can while maintaining your vassals' happiness. So remember, 15 is good, 16 and above is excellent. And the higher the skill level, the more rewards and perks and best possible outcomes will occur the higher the skill. And the bishop, you see right here with the thumbs down, our realm priest does not endorse us, meaning out of the lands he controls in this temple, he will not give us a share or a cut of the taxes and levies per month. So it's important also to keep our bishop in a positive standing with us. That way we can increase our gold and levies per month. Now to talk about the tasks they do, I consider the council your round table, and they let you know what you could do within your realm. So say for example your bishop, he'll tell you, hey, you don't have a court position and you have people that can get married. Your marshal will tell you, hey, we can declare war on this person, and your chancellor will tell you, hey, we could vassalize this person. So I like to consider the round table, the council, just giving you advice and bringing things to your attention, as well as these ones in red as well. In this case, it's because we're unmarried and our heir is unmarried. But to delve into specifics, we talked about the fabricate claim by our bishop. This one is increasing our piety, and this one right here is converting faith. So you would click on the R. We'll talk about the religion just a little bit later. Click on the R on the keyboard, and it'll tell you the religion of the land. Just to zoom out and show you all the different religions. And you click home on the keyboard and it'll bring you back to your realm capital. And we'll click on council. So that's for our bishop. Our chancellor could increase our vassals and courtiers' opinions of us by setting them on domestic affairs. And you see he's on good, so he has nothing but positive possible effects. Foreign will increase your prestige and independent ruler opinion of you. Your marshal, you could set him to organizing your army, which will increase the rate your army is filled again with the ranks, the levy size and the garrison size, as well as the reduced cost for your military to maintain them, which will be seen right here, unraised men-at-arms. This one, I like to keep my marshal on this one because he has an opportunity each month to find us a new commander or knight, and they will be pretty good, usually better than the ones you have for sure. So I like to keep them there just to have that possibility to get a knight each month. And they'll also, on this train commanders one, will increase your knights martial ability and their prowess, making them better fighters. So it's important. If your marshal has low ability, it increases the risk that they will get wounded in battle, and then you would have to rely on your physician to take care of them. And as well as finding a commander and training up your soldiers. The knight effectiveness, and remember each prowess is 100 points or 100 damage. The knight effectiveness will increase that damage output. So the max you can get is 75, I believe, right here, or 14, my bad. 75 is a lifestyle perk over here, right here, knight effectiveness, so that's a huge boost as well if you go down that martial tree path. And in this increased county control is after you could wage war or civil war, and the county control level is no longer 100. So you always want to keep that as high as possible to get the max amount of taxes and levies per month out of that county. Your steward, we talked about a little bit earlier, can increase the development of your county, and as your development level increases, that'll increase your taxes per month, your levies per month, how many soldiers you're getting, and the supply limit, how large of an army that county, that piece of land can feed. You could also set your steward to collect taxes for you, which will give you a sum of money. And your spy master, you can have him find secrets to get hooks. You would have to blackmail them once you find a secret, and if they agree to the blackmail, you would get a hook on them, and then you can modify a contract, or if it's a strong hook, you could drag them into certain schemes. This one right here would be support schemes, so it's going to support your hostile schemes like a murder scheme or a fabricate a hook scheme. This one is on disrupt schemes. I for the most part have him on this one, and he will try to find out any murder schemes or any hostile schemes against you or anybody in your court. So if you set your spy master to hostile schemes, and whatever hooks or secrets he finds and you get to blackmails, thus creating a hook, you can find them here in the intrigue button right here, the intrigue menu. Hostile schemes like murders or fabricate a hook, personal schemes like a sway, and discovered secret schemes. Those are the hostile schemes against you, like murders or your vassals, or against your vassals. And this is where the hooks would be after you blackmail them. So it tells you the hooks you hold, whether it's a weak hook or a strong hook. A strong hook does not go away, but it has a cooldown every time you use it. And a weak hook disappears after you use it. And this would be secrets known to me, people who you could blackmail. These are the hooks on you. So like your vassals or anybody else who has a hook on you and thus could use that in their favor. And these are the secrets that you have. So like if you murdered somebody, this is a secret you have. And if someone finds it, they will blackmail you. And if you accept the blackmail, they will pop up right here as they have a hook on you. Or you could deny their blackmail, and then they will expose your secret, and it'll have a negative effect among your court and everybody else. with a negative opinion. So that's it for the council right here. Before we talk about war and military, we need to mention religion down here at the bottom, the middle tab. It'll tell you what faith you're a part of, other faiths that are a part of your Christian faith or whatever faith you are a part of. It's tenets, so certain traditions, I guess, almost in a sense. What characteristic traits are considered sins or virtues, and that will play into piety and how much you earn per month. And its main doctrines, those also affect the playthrough and the head of faith. An important thing to keep in mind though with the religions is the holy sites, and each holy site it affects each person of your faith. So similarly to the dynasty legacies affecting everybody in your dynasty and applying to everybody in your dynasty, the holy sites affect everybody in your particular faith. So you can see we are only holding or in control of one holy site out of all of them that are considered holy sites for Christianity. So we are only getting one buff, one perk, one bonus from holding this holy site as opposed to all of these. So you could zoom out and it'll tell you where all the holy sites are for your particular religion. So you see right here, we clicked on this religion. It has a holy site right here in Cordoba, here at the tip of Africa, and over here in Arabia and the Levant. And they provide their bonuses as well. And it'll tell you we consider them evil. So with religions you consider evil, you can wage holy wars against. And a holy war is essentially it's a claim in its own way. It's a claim as an unpressed or pressed claim. So you'll see right here in Al-Andalus is in this time period Spain is called. There is a border between these evil faiths who consider each other evil. So we would click on this character here, whoever has that faith that we consider evil. We would right click on them and we'll go to war. But I guess it's saying for some reason we do not have it. But they will be able to start what is called a holy war. And with holy wars, you can have holy orders, which you've heard of like as the Knights Templar and Knights Hospitallers and things like in that nature. Holy orders. And to raise a holy order, it will cost piety. But if you are a founder of a holy order, whoever is in control of their headquarters does not need to pay for their services with piety. You could raise them and add them to your military for free in a holy war only, or wars or battles against opposing religions. So that's all for religion, and let's get into military and war. So for military and war, we'll click on this tab right here, and also we'll have to keep in mind this tab, it's similar to this one, and the gold. So military, it's in Italis our army. These are our levies. These are basically the village people, and these are our knights, and these are our specially trained units. All these people fight for king and for country. They fight for the motherland. But one thing to keep in mind, if your culture does not like war, the villages you have will have a negative opinion of you for what is called an offensive war. If you're committing too many offensive wars, you're risking their lives too often for your gain, they will have a negative opinion of you and they could rise up in rebellion. So for the special units, we each have them listed here. And the better the unit, the more expensive they're going to cost, not only in the one-time fee to raise them and purchase them, but in their maintenance. This is to feed them and for the logistics and whatnot. Now, each troop has a buff, except for this one, no terrain effects. But let's go for ours, our light footmen, for example. They have a terrain bonus in forest, in the Taga, and the jungle, where they have increased damage. So how you look at the terrain for their bonuses, you will click this plus button and you will go to terrain. And the different colors represent different landscapes, the different terrains. So the hills and the forest. So right here, our light footmen have a plus damage bonus when they fight in the forest and the plains. So the terrain is important to keep in mind, not only for the troop types and where you want to fight your battles, but for the culture. And we'll talk about the culture after this to close off the video. So the troop types also counter other troops. So you see right here, light footmen counter this type of troop, the heavy infantry, the best unit in the game that is currently available to us. So what that means is when they counter them, they are not doing the max damage. They have a reduced damage output because this troop counters them in battle. So right here is the damage output. Right here is basically it's the toughness, the defense, I guess you could think of. And right here is the pursuit. The pursuit is when you win a battle and they are fleeing and your army is chasing them, how well they are able to chop their numbers down. Increase the amount of casualties. The higher the number of pursuit, the more numbers you'll be able to increase for their casualties. And here is the screen. It is the opposite of pursuit. How well you're able to shield your fleeing members. And here at the bottom are the siege weapons. You usually want to have a siege weapon when you're trying to take over a castle and control this territory, because it just makes it go by much quicker. You see the siege progress per day. And once you do capture an enemy territory, you now get the defender bonus if you fight in that land. You see, let's see if it gives a bonus. No defender bonus. Okay. But certain terrains grant you a defender bonus, like mountains and I believe hills, and defending a river crossing will grant you good defender bonuses. Where is it at? See right here, we have one example of commander advantage in the dice roll. That roll increases the damage output for those couple of days until another dice roll. There was one there for the defender somewhere. Right here. Defender territory. So you have the attacker and defender advantages. And your artifacts could have an influence on the amount as well. So defender is when you're defending or you're fighting in your controlled territory, and your attacker is when you're fighting on territory you do not control. So again, you want to pick your battles, slow down when you're at war, so you could choose your battles and its landscape, and make sure you have the highest knight with martial ability, because the martial ability affects their commander skill level as opposed to their prowess. So he would make a really good commander. So if you want to get more powerful, have a stronger army, you want to increase your men at arms, your trained troops, but that costs gold per month in their maintenance right here. This is costing us 0.60 to maintain 400 light footmen, and that's with them being unraced. That means they're not going to war, they're not fighting. If we were to go to war, it would be 180 for the 400. So this is your cheapest, most it's the cheapest unit you could raise. But they counter the best troop type, that the heavy infantry. The heavy cavalry is most, I would say, is the best troop, as they do massive amount of damage, but likewise they are very expensive, and you would have to unlock them in the cultural traditions. So it's important to get this number as high as possible, your monthly income, your taxes, that way you could support a large army. And when you get later on in the game, you want to max these out. That way you just simply raise them and only a couple of your levies. You don't have to raise up your full army, and they will do much more damage than the levies. So again, to create one, you just click on it and then create. Or to raise a troop amount, click on it and hit X. You could decrease it or just get rid of them fully, all 400. And then you have your mercenaries right here, but it's going to cost you a lot of gold, or a decent amount of gold for sure. And if you bundle them up, it's going to give you a discount. You see right here for these two, it's going to cost us 260 to compared to 139. So if we were to buy 2 troops, these two, what is that? That's 260, 263. In this case, there's no discount. But usually if you bundle them, you'll get a discount. And it comes with, each unit comes with 2 knights and their leader. So you want to have somebody with a high martial ability, because that affects the commander ability as well. And a higher commander means your army, your troops do more damage. So on top of that, you can see the monthly maintenance on the bottom, how much it cost. And if you were to raise them, you would be at a -4 right here per month. And then the holy orders we mentioned. And that would do it for the wars. And for warfare, the terrains, keep in mind the terrain you want to fight on, any river crossings. You can see a river crossing with a bridge. And before you go to battle, say your army is right here, and they are going to fight, you're going to meet this army right here. It'll give you like a little symbol, either a plus or a minus, or like a weighted or evenly scaled, means that it can go either way. So you want to pick your battles that are going to have a green plus sign, or a light green flag, means it's predicting you're gonna demolish them. So you want to get as many of those battles as possible, and slow down them, because if you go on the max speed, you could easily send your troops into battle, and they'll lose it for sure. So slow down when you go to war to make sure you'll win them, and you could pick the directions to cut them off and whatnot. And before you go to war, plan your route of attack. You usually want to pick castles that have the lowest fort level to your route of your target. So say we want to capture this duchy. When we have enough prestige, you can go to war for duchies. It doesn't let us select them at all. So you can go to war for counties and for duchies, and you'll capture both duchies, or both counties in this duchy. So the duchy capital would be the war target. So you always want to make sure you capture the war target, the objective of the war, and that'll increase your war score to finish those wars quickly. That way you can get back to your full taxes per month. So plan your route of attack and play your wars slowly. Alright, so now we have culture. We did talk about culture just a little bit. You have your cultural traditions of everybody in a certain land. You have your traditions on what your culture is. You could establish traditions with prestige, and they have different categories of how your culture would be and how they act. And you get to choose the tradition and which ones you want your culture to focus on unlocking or studying if you are the culture head. The culture head means you control the most counties of your culture. We control it because we have 3 counties under, we are the culture head because we have 3 counties, Irish counties, under our control, and he has the second most with 2 counties. So if he had 3, I'm not sure how it would play out, maybe whoever has the most troops, but if he had 4, then he would be the culture head. And the different time periods unlock different technologies. They're pretty similar, but just further along, I guess. So that would be it for the culture. Last thing I forgot to mention is alliances. Alliances are very important. You want to keep in mind the de jure maps for the titles you want to acquire. The U on the keyboard, the I on the keyboard, and the O on the keyboard. So say if you want to form Ireland, we want to, especially because it's close by, we want to look for alliances within the Wales or Scotland or England. That way we don't have to worry about fighting them when we want to form the kingdom. In the beginning, when it's like this, I guess you could form an alliance up here, and then you go to war for these counties. But keep in mind your de jure borders when you're forming alliances. That way it's a lot easier to acquire the titles that you want to acquire. And you can have those alliances for generations. And how you acquire an alliance is marrying off your dynasty members or family members in your court. So you could acquire an alliance with your brother right here and with your son or your children. So your children, your siblings, and even your parents if they are unmarried in your court. Your family members in your court, you can form an alliance or use to form an alliance. So that's the beginner's guide. I hope y'all found a lot of value in it, and I'll catch you on the next one.